Hey guys, so today I'm going to touch a little bit on something that keeps reoccurring, and that is, hey Frederick, you think that and that, and I can do that and that. That makes me a senior, right? So let's get into it. So this morning I woke up and I had a look at a comment on one of my job interview videos where I kind of walk you through the things that I kind of look at and the things that I think about when I look at a senior's code test. And there's quite a few of these people who will leave a comment in line with that sort of statement that, oh yeah, I'm already doing this is super easy, that makes me a senior, right? And I won't say too much about it, but it's almost like I'm not saying mocking tone, but it's more oh, this is super trivial. And I think we need to talk about this a little bit, because which is interesting, 2 days ago I read also very nice reply to another of these sorts of statements on Quora, where a person had asked the question, is it embarrassing for software developers to have the only intellectual field where somebody can learn your profession in 3 months? And the person who had replied had done so very accurately, and he did say virtually the same thing that I've been saying in quite a few videos. And honestly guys, I'm so far past the point where I care if there are people out there who think that this is feasible, then by all means go and take a boot camp and call yourself a professional programmer, because the fact of the matter is that you're not. I'm sorry to say, it's just the way it is. It's to put it in perspective, it's very similar to claiming that if you learn how to do CPR training, you're a doctor. There's a very big difference. And the same thing goes for this sort of code test. Now, guys, I have to for those of you who may not have been in a job interview, or who may not have an understanding of what it is that is actually required of you when it comes to working at, say, a senior software developer. It doesn't have to be a senior, but at above beginner level. You see, when it comes to a code test, it is all but impossible to determine somebody's exact skill level from a code test. It's also why I tell a lot of people that if you fail a code test, or you don't get a job or something like that, don't feel too bad about it, guys, because this is a very it is an inaccurate system of evaluation. It's the best one we have, but it's not a hard truth for everyone. I mean, there are good stories where recruiters, and it was kind of funny, where I was listening to this interview who worked at Google, who had allegedly, they had sent to their panel, the panel who evaluates each candidate, they had sent them their own CVs, and they had dismissed themselves as part of that interviewing process. So don't take it too seriously. But what's interesting here is that I made an analogy a while back where I said that if you put a white belt, a martial art white belt, next to a black belt, and they both throw a punch, from your perspective, it may or may not look like they're doing the same thing. But there's a world of differences between what's actually going through their heads and the sort of considerations that they are making. And that's exactly what I want you to remember when we're talking about a senior code test. Now, a senior code test, just ask yourself, how would a code test determine seniority? Is it through the complexity of the challenge or something else? It's very hard to say. The way that I structured it and the way that I think about it is that I know for a fact what a experience, in this case it was a front-end developer, I know what an experienced front-end developer is going to have to face, and the sort of things that this person needs experience in. It's not about talent necessarily, it's about knowing what is going to work and what's not going to work, and having the experience to make decisions on behalf of a project, because that's a lot of what being a senior is about, guys. Seniors, just because you're a senior doesn't mean that you're the smartest person in the room. It has to do with having an understanding of software development, and how you have been around for long enough that you know how to build different products. So for a front-end developer, these challenges are usually the sort of things that, I mean, there's just a few things I would say that a code test above a junior level or a mid-level programmer's code test is going to show you whether or not, you know, to illustrate whether or not a person is a more senior profile. And the rest comes down to interviews. The rest comes down, and that's something that a lot of people who look at these code tests, they forget. It's almost like, it's a little bit funny because it seems that a lot of people are looking at the code test, and I keep telling people, the code test is just one part of it, guys. The interview is the thing that's going to get you. Because I can tell you right now, if I sit down and I talk to you, I will hear immediately if you're a senior. And so will most of my software, like my coworkers. You will not, trust me, if you're not a senior, it will show in the way that you carry yourself, in the way that you talk, your technical knowledge when we're talking about things. Guys, trust me, there is no way that you're going to talk your way through somebody who really knows their stuff. Because frankly, it's usually one of two things that happens. Either people try to pretend, like unless they are really good, either they pretend to know more than they do in the technical interview, and they talk with a lot of confidence. This is very common in more middle-aged profiles, or people who have been, let's say, they've spent more time in management or things of that nature, where they still have this illusion that they have the technical skills that are necessary to do a certain job, and they speak with the same sort of confidence that you would expect from a manager, but when you actually ask them concrete questions about technologies and stuff like that, they can't really answer you. Juniors, on the other hand, it's this, or people with a more less experience, will simply not be able to answer at all, and they also lack quite a bit of confidence. So what I want you to take away from this, guys, is that a code test is just a code test. What determines the level, what makes a person a senior or not, has to do with more than just a plain code test. There's no one code test that can dictate this. And if you want to be a senior, you're going to have to go through the same channels as everybody else. Trust me, it takes a little while to get that type of experience. Have a great day.